Live.
Okay. So I guess I'm going to do it a little. We're doing politics, okay? Torah perspective on politics. That's it. It's like it's a crazy thing, but like it's almost like a cliche that people say you can't mix religion and politics. It's like one of the big lines: "Don't mix religion and politics." To me,
that's a recipe for the best politics.
That's no more than that. I don't understand that b'chlal.
And that's why Mamdani just got voted in, because we didn't mix religion and politics.
Oh yeah, so I think we did mix religion. I think leftism is like the largest religion in the world today.
Most of the Jewish areas voted for it.
What?
I'm pretty sure most of the Jewish areas voted for it.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll get a Havana in those Jews, but before the end of the night in Yitzchak.
Like the Kamala Harris Jews. It's fine.
Okay, what are they? Because we have to go. I want to explain them. I want to give. I think the way people talk about all this stuff is mamish. It's so not in touch with reality. The way people think is, Let me just do it. This doctrine I want to give is that mixing religion and politics to many people is a no-no, and I just want to. In order to say that, what do you have to? What do you really say? That you think that religion belongs like. When people are sick in the hospital, like Tehillim, or what is it? What is Torah? Torah is nothing more than the guide to existence. What is politics? Politics are all the debates of how to administer a universe, how to run a world. I don't think that there are two more intimately connected ideas in religion and politics. I think politics is nothing. There's nothing in politics that's not totally dependent on religion. Our take on religion. In other religions, religion is some kind of transcendence. It's about escaping the universe and transcending the physical world. In Judaism, that's not what religion is. Religion is how to live the perfect life. It is that this universe is a symphony. We just have to make the music. That's what politics is attempting to figure out how to do, how to synthesize, how to make the world work. So Judaism's perspective is that politics and religion are synonyms. They're literally, not from the politics side to religion, they're synonyms. Religion is much more than just politics. Religion is politics, science, philosophy, psychology, economics. It's everything, the entire existence of how the world works. But a big part of how the world works is politics. And Torah we believe that Torah is the guide it's a symphony. So politics is a big part of the symphony. Okay, so this is understanding politics is totally Talmud Torah. You with me on this? You understand the difference? If you see the purpose of life as transcendence, then politics is about life here, and religion is about escaping this world. Like, there's no kesher. But if religion is about making this world perfect, then they're identical. Okay, that's the first step. So there's three parts to the shir. The part that's the most important, and the only part that's really real is the third part. But I have to go through the first two parts just to get it out of the way. In the end, I'll explain why none of this is Nageya, but people don't know. Well, you have to talk to people on the level they're at. So most people think that politics is about, again, there's a lot of different ways to say it. It's not just two categories, but we call it left and right, liberal and conservative, Republican and Democrat. There's a lot of ways to divide them, and they're all slightly nuanced. Technically, you can be a liberal Republican and a conservative Democrat, and there's all these different syntheses. But for the most part, it's pretty clear what the two main categories are. There's a reason why we have two main parties. In most places in the world, there's two main parties. There are other parties that are niches, a retired immigrants party, a retired people's party, parties who are busy with the environment and parties who are busy with, LGBTQ rights. But these are people's personal niches. But for the most part, when we talk about how to run the world, there's two main groupings. And instead of calling them conservative or Democrat or liberal or Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative, right, we'll call it the right and the left. But most people understand basically what we mean. Granted that there are nuances, but for tonight's purposes, let's just talk about the world the way people intuitively understand it. Okay, we'll get clarity on it. So what's the Torah's position? So the first thing to say is that it's extremely polarized everywhere in the world. You listen to right-wing talk radio, and everybody on the left is like a communist. And you listen to left-wing talk radio, and everybody on the right's a Nazi. It's a world of fascists and communists. That's how everyone talks about it, like extreme talk. But when you really think about it, what are the talking points of the right and the left? Make a list. What is left-wing talking points? What do they say? What are their slogans? Tolerance, acceptance, kindness, compassion, forgiveness, charity, social programs, safety nets, equality, unity, brotherhood, compassion. These are all left-wing slogans. What are right-wing slogans?
Freedom.
Law.
Freedom, justice, hard work, responsibility, ethics, values, family, discipline, honesty, work ethic. Right? Give me more. Whatever. Duty, responsibility. Right? If you think about it, is there anyone who could have a problem with any of those things on both of those lists? They're both amazing lists. It's like, why does one...
Extremes.
What?
Extremes are a problem, no matter what they are.
Okay, but you have no problem on anything on the list. You just...
I have a problem with tolerance.
With what?
Tolerance.
Why?
Well, you don't have to tolerate everybody.
First of all, we didn't say you have to tolerate everybody.
But that's the left is all about tolerance. So
I mean,
I'm just saying, I have a problem with that.
Is tolerance a good value?
It's inherently a good value.
Is tolerance a good value?
It is a good value.
Okay, so then you want to put
But
cool on
who
it.
they're tolerating is not a good
Depends
value.
what you're tolerating.
Is eating good?
Tolerating bad is not a good thing.
But you're saying that...
What is eating good?
We're not talking about...
Everything has a gvul, you
We're
know?
not talking about the act. We're talking about what it's directed at. You said that whatever they're doing, you could recognize the good in it. You can recognize the good in tolerating, but not what they're tolerating. So it's a little different.
I don't know why. Maybe there are arenas where there should be zero tolerance. Everybody would agree. The biggest leftists would agree that there are issues that should have zero tolerance, right? They'll say zero tolerance for Republicans, but they'll agree that there's zero tolerance in cases. We're haggling over.
You're saying the word tolerance
Zero
is
tolerance for
on both
murder
sides.
after 3 years old.
What?
So 0 tolerance for murder after 3 years old when the mother finishes.
Okay, whatever. Everybody agrees on all these words. That's my point. Everyone agrees that there's places will haggle over the boundaries of these terms, but to automatically write off one side because you don't like and you can do the same exact thing you're doing on the right-wing words. Why do you pick tolerance is when you have a problem? Why don't you say responsibility? Is it too much responsibility? Can you put too much on somebody? Is there things which are not your fault and you shouldn't be responsible for? And it's not like, are you? What about justice? You should always be just. Yeah, if somebody can't work, you let him starve to death. You should never give him any food. Everyone would like. Why did you pick intuitively the word on the tolerance side to fight with? You could pick the same thing with a word on the right wing side to fight with. Everyone agrees that none of these words can exist in a vacuum. That's part of the point I'm making. Is that both life is going to have to be some kind of synthesis of these two ideas, and the idea that the world is so polarized is what's shocking. Like nobody understands this. And everyone lives in their little bubble. They only want to hear their catchwords, and as soon as they hear one of the other catchwords, they go ballistic. And in Judaism, for starters, this is why we have 3 avos. The whole idea of 3 in Yiddishkeit. 3 in Yiddishkeit it's good to know, like just how we visualize it. There's 2. Normally people visualize numbers as linear: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points on a continuum. In Judaism, we don't see numbers like that. We see 1, 2, 3 as a triangle, and then 4, 5, 6 a triangle, 7, 8, 9. We count by triangles. What's the difference between 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3? So progress doesn't work one step and the next step and the next step. It's davar v'hifuchai. You need one trait and then you need the opposite trait. And then the third trait is the ability to synthesize those two and to balance them. That's how we progress. Pick any trait, pick any midah in the world, something nice. Pick something you think is nice in the world. Anything.
Kindness?
Kindness, right? So Everybody understands that kindness is nice. It's nice to be kind. Everybody also knows that it's nice to discipline. Right? You got to be tough sometimes. You have to be able to say no. There has to be boundaries. Parents, you can give your kids too much sugar. You can give that. They can want to eat something that's poisonous. You have to know gevulim, right? Patience is a nice midah. Patience, nice midah. But so is being passionate and zealous and maximizing your effort and your time and anything. Pick any midah. And there's not a midah in the world where the opposite midah isn't just as beautiful at times.
Hard work.
Hard work. Okay, and
Bilam worked hard to
hard work's nice. Is freedom nice? Is peace nice? Is tranquility beautiful?
It's not the opposite of hard work.
What?
It's not the opposite
Opposite
of
of
hard
hard
work.
work.
Why is it not the opposite? In what frame do you mean hard work?
Laziness. When is laziness in a place?
That's not the opposite of it.
Laziness is a negative spin on maybe patience. It's a marketing job. I can if you called me lazy, I could answer you. I'm not lazy. I'm just chilled. Chilled is probably worse than lazy. But you could say I'm lazy, and I'll say, oh, you call it lazy? I'm just. You never met someone who has to think things through, who doesn't jump. You're what do you call it? Impetuous? What's the word? There's a word. What do you're impulsive. You're impulsive. I'm not lazy. You're impulsive. These are big life decisions. How do you just jumping without thinking? You're a mazik. You have to think things through. We could fight about it. Look, there used to be the Nestle's Quick commercial with the rabbit. Here's what they used to have the commercial. And the guy wanted it. That's called Nestle's Quick. He goes, it's so good, you have to drink it really fast. And the rabbit is saying, and then the other guy says, no, you have to drink it slow. You have to enjoy it. And they're fighting slogans back and forth between the two of them. One's the one who's saying drink it fast, saying no better time than the presence, and the other one goes patience is a virtue, and the whole commercial is back and forth, competing slogans. But you can do that in everything, right?
Do we answer the question though? What's the opposite of hard work?
Well, I thought I did, but he's saying he didn't like it. So when you say hard work, what do you mean? Hard work as opposed to what's the opposite? What is that?
Not working hard.
What?
Not working hard.
That's the absence of hard work.
Or laziness.
What?
Or laziness.
Maybe the opposite.
There's
of
no
hard-
positive.
Maybe the
versus-
opposite.
I would tell you, don't work hard, work smart. There's a million ways to approach it. You're giving me too much room to make opposites.
What's the
Why are you
opposite of
working hard?
proactive?
What the guy who's smarter? The guy who dropped out of school and went and got a job because why is he spending 4 years in school? He can get a job right now flipping burgers or get a job in Walmart. Or the guy who
It's
says
not the opposite of hard work. It's
the guy
two
says, no, I'm
versions
going to go
of
to
hard work.
college for 15 years and get a postgraduate degree and become a neurosurgeon. So who
Two versions
who
of
worked
hard
harder?
work. It's two
I would
versions
put
of
the
hard
opposite.
work.
What?
That's two versions of hard work.
So you're arguing. So when you say hard work, the opposite of hard work, you mean? So I was giving you one opposite. One opposite is you said hard work, and I said, what was my answer? Think smart. So work harder, work smarter. Now you're saying you just mean working smarter is also called hard. Okay. So then you want me to give the other kind of opposite. There's a value to serenity. There's a value in stillness. There's a value to silence. There's a value to, right? There's something to be said for serenity. Serenity is the arena for the deepest ideas, the deepest understandings. And if everyone's working hard, then everything you produce is going to
Do you ever
be...
get deep understandings with not thinking hard?
No, not the same thing that you could have in serenity, because when you're working hard, a lot of your effort is you being distracted. You're putting it into a certain arena. You're totally focused. You're already preoccupied and you're very focused. That was by the way, it's right. The Ramchal says this specifically, and this was Parshas Eitzah. What was Parshas Eitzah? Tichvar leim avoda. Why? Because then they won't be able to think about their dreams and what they want. So hard work is klar, the opposite of dreaming, of thoughts. And the way you silence those thoughts is to keep people so busy. Now busyness is important, but so is the ability to detach, and that's what Shabbos is. Why do we have Shabbos? Right? If hard work is right, these are what?
That's the opposite.
right? Okay, you want to. Shabbos is the opposite of hard work. How's that?
Have serenity on Shabbos is hard work.
You only
It's
if
not
you used to
hard
work
work.
so hard.
It's difficult. So maybe the
We-
hardest thing is serenity.
We go
So
through all
maybe hard work then is
He's calling anything
is
good
an
hard.
escape. What?
I was going to call anything good hard.
Okay, so that's that. But first of all, it's a nice attitude. That hard. That's a good. It's a very nice construct. The way it's something worth debating. If I can measure the world by hard, by difficult and easy. The definition of good and evil is difficult and easy, which is it's pretty close.
That means he's right.
What?
He's right.
It's not right, but it's close.
It's not a definition.
It's close because the definition is really deserving, undeserving. Is pride and shame. Deserving, undeserving. Now, the hard and easy is close to deserving, undeserving, but it's not. There's enough distinctions. But I don't want. We want to go back to this. This is okay. So we're on the same page. Every opposite. Do you want to try one more?
Maturity.
What?
Maturity.
Maturity. And what about youthfulness and excitement and impulsiveness? It's a value to being impulsive, and sometimes it's crippling to be too reserved and too. Again, what depends what you mean by maturity, you know. Maturity can be very sad, you know. A lot of people, you know, they dream of those days when they were kids, and that's their little safe place. When they were giggly and bubbly, and are we there yet? And people, you know, how many adults, you know, prepare their clothing before they go to sleep at night? You know, like kids do before a Chol Moed trip. You know, it's sad that we lose that. Okay, but all these words that they're just like maturity is you can give. You know, if you can come up with 5 definitions, and each one will have a different opposite. Okay, it's a very broad. Okay, but you're on board with this idea. This is easy, but this is supposed to be the short part of the share. Is that Judaism's model is 3s. Davar in English we call it thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. We call it davar v'yifuchai. We call it chesed, gvura, tiferes. Tiferes is beauty. This is why there's 3 of us. Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov are Avram and Yitzchak are opposites. Avram's chesed, Yitzchak is din. Yaakov is the balance, and that's why Yaakov has the 12 shvatim. Chesed and din are opposites. Do I have to explain that now? I could do it later. It's clear how chesed and din are opposites. Kindness. We'll do it more later. But kindness means what? What does justice mean?
Get what you deserve.
Get what you deserve. Very simple.
You don't deserve.
Chesed is even though you don't deserve, I'm doing it anyway. So chesed by definition is not just, and justice by definition is not chesed. Which one's more beautiful?
Neither.
They're both pretty. You could talk about. You could debate them. They're fascinating to think about. But there's 2
Why is
different.
chesed not deserved?
What?
Why is chesed not deserved?
Because what kindness? What is kindness?
No,
mean?
I had no chayvus to do it.
That means you didn't earn it. It's unearned.
It is unearned.
It's unearned. You didn't earn it. You don't deserve. It's not din. It's
The
not.
guy who works hard but not smart makes no money. I do a chesed, I give him some money.
Okay. So
That
the
is
money.
perfect.
The money
I just
he
had no
could.
chayvus to do it.
What?
I just had no chayvus to
And
do it.
he had no entitlement to have it. And the fact that he has this money, it's not money that he earned. He doesn't have the experience of eating the fruits of his labor. He's a schnorrer a little bit, and he's indebted to you. Let me not tell you. Maybe he doesn't mind. Maybe you're his father, and then you think it's a mitzvah to take me a father, you know. But it's different, right? You're not on board. The chesed and din are opposites.
I think it's a little debatable.
Which side? You accept that din is
I
you
think
get what you
that
deserve?
Not necessarily is he not deserving what he's getting. It just may not correlate exactly from where it's coming from, but he may deserve it. You just have no chayvus to give it to him. Didn't have to come
That's
from
the
you.
case. I don't know if that's what you're saying, but that's the difference in my mind between tzedek and mishpat. Tzedek and mishpat is I could be deserving of something. Give you an example. I'm a fireman, and you're a mailman. Okay, so I didn't pay you to deliver my mail. Right?
Okay.
It's not justice. It's tzedek, because I'm the fireman, and I will save you if your house is on fire, and therefore you delivered mail for me. So in the global sense, I paid into the system a different way. tzedek is a broader understanding of justice than immediate. It's the best place you see it, like in money. If you have corn and I have wheat, I can give you wheat and you give me corn. But if the guy has chocolate, okay, and he doesn't need my wheat,
So we have a triangular.
so we have money. So that's not straight mishpat. Or money is the ability to have something that is universally valuable by not having any specific value. So these are, but ultimately it's acknowledging that the whole system is justice, because I'm carrying my weight in a different way. So if that's what you mean, then it's fine. Then I have a problem with that. That it's not chesed. It's called
That's what I was
tzedek.
saying. You have a guy. who
Chesed
works-
means the guy is
you have a guy who
homeless,
works-
contributes nothing to the world, and we're going to feed him.
Oh, but most of that is not.
Is that called chesed?
If someone contributes nothing to the world?
Or whatever it is, or not the amount of what he got.
The problem is that would borderline a disservice to give him money.
Okay, that's what that's what the Mishnah guy might say. It's a nice debate.
As I said, it becomes debatable once you start going down this road.
Everything's debatable. The point is, you were making you made a
Certain
different argument. I was responding to the first argument. The first argument you were saying is that it's what I was calling chesed is not really chesed. You were saying it's also din. And I said, fine. In some way, you're right. I was machalik between my din and your din. I called it like mishpat, tzedek and mishpat. They're both din. One is the direct deserving, but there is something called chesed. And chesed also has categories. There's chesed and rachamim. Racham and chesed are different also. But I don't know how much you want to flesh all this out.
I'll eat it. That's fine.
Okay, we want to get to the hard part of that.
Right. Okay.
So the short part.
But,
This is the short part that we're supposed to be doing.
yeah. The
You know it
Korach. We
never
have to get
plays
the
out
Korach.
like that.
How much time do I
Let's try
have?
not to.
8:46.
We have a half hour.
We have more than a half hour. But okay. So don't talk anymore. Okay. No, chas v'shalom. Then I should just skip it because I don't want. We'll do it another time. I'll go skip to the Korach stuff.
We'll try to limit the
Let
question.
me I'll just give you the skeleton now, and then you'll keep track, and we'll do it properly another time. The first two parts. Let me just say it fast now. We believe that Avram is Chesed. Okay, Avram is a caricature of a bleeding heart liberal. Okay, look at Avram. What's his life? Homeless shelters, soup kitchens, and when he's not feeding people, what's he doing? He's davening to Hashem to save some Russia. Forgive Paroi, Avimelech, Sodom. All he's doing is literally, it's like it's Pella when people don't see it. He's literally a caricature of a bleeding heart. Hashem, forgive everybody. Hashem, give him a pass. And then he's busy feeding everyone and giving them places to catch their breath. Okay? Yitzchak is your first conservative. He's the opposite. He's din. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, no free rides, pure din. To the point that Chazal described that all the Bali Tshuva that Avram made, they all left when Yitzchak took over. It was like, right? But, okay. So now the problem is that Avram and Yitzchak, both, because you need the synthesis, both of them have a son who's a Rasha. If you have only chesed, what happens? If you raise your kid with chesed, total chesed, I mean everything's good, everything's kosher. You're a tzaddik, you're adorable, you're wonderful, nothing's bad. So you end up with a yishmal. Yishmal is what happens when you have too much chesed. What's the character trait that comes from too much chesed? If you raise kids and every single thing is kosher, everything is good, everything's beautiful. So what happens to those kids? What do they become?
They go off.
What?
They go off.
Which off? There's a million offs.
From hippies?
What?
They become the overbearing helicopter parents that put helmets on their kids to cross the street.
That's a very big jump how you got there. What's the simplest thing without all the middle steps that got you to what you said? If you raise your kid without discipline, what does he become?
Entitled.
Okay, entitled is one step, but all these modern words, guys, think straight. They're just neat. Don't jump. If I have no boundaries, so what happens when there's no boundaries? Fall off the edge. It's anarchy. It's wild. That's the simplest, neatest taitzah. You're right. Now a kid who's wild, he's going to have experiences that might make him into your helicopter parent. Just like down the road, there'll be a lot of directions it can go. But that's not the direct correlation to every single thing is legit. You end up with Pere Adam, a wild man. That's what Yishmael is. A Pere Adam. He's wild. No gevulim, no boundaries. Right? What happens if you raise your kid? Every single thing in his life he has to earn. There is no free rides. There's no handouts. So you end up with cruelty, like so rigid. So rigid, there's no room for mistakes, there's no room for compassion, there's no room for charity.
It's a good point. He's saying that normally
You
now
still end
they
up
don't
with a
do a good
broken
job
kid.
in the chinuch.
They're both broken, but this one kid is cruel and one kid is wild. What?
It's a good point. They succeed in their chinuch. Now the parents fail, so the children go to the opposite extreme. But here, Avram succeeded in his chinuch too well. His mistake was different than today's mistakes. He was succeeding too well that he was too nice, too chill. And Yitzchak's son.
I mean, it wasn't the absence of something. He was so all in on chesed
Yeah.
that his kid got
Meaning-
chesed fried.
Now the failure when parents fail, the kids
It's
go to the
because
opposite.
they're absent.
Right, but there was like it wasn't. He didn't fail in his parenting.
Why is it not still
Succeeded too
Why
well.
didn't he feel on his parent?
It's a different type of failure. It's not like they wanted to be the opposite.
You let us say that?
Okay.
What?
You let us say that about
Yeah,
Tavis?
because it would be fear.
Well, again, you have to give back to everything. We're not saying it like mamish, like like that kind of like it's the
I
others.
just felt like we missed it. That's
No,
all.
no,
Just put a
but-
disclaimer out there.
No, but it's what it is it's not a failure. The word is that Avram could only be Avram. So that's why there's three ovens. It's a process. Number one is just number one. That's why there's number two. And that Yitzchak has to be the older. And then Yaakov's different. That's why Yaakov has it. That's why Yaakov has the 12 shvatim. Avram Yitzchak couldn't have, each one's one-dimensional. Avram creates a Yishmael, and Yitzchak creates an Esav. Yishmael and Esav are opposite Averis. Yishmael is a Noyef, and Esav is a Reitzeach. So which is worse, adultery or murder? They're both bad. One is the sin of too much chesed, and one is the sin of too much din. Make sense? Esav is Yitzchak's son, and Yishmael is Avram's son. And Yaakov is Mitasei Shlema. All of his kids are tzaddikim, because there's a synthesis of both of these mitas. Okay? So that's the first part of the shir is really, is just the question, is heaven a red state or a blue state? What's the answer? Just simple.
Purple.
Well, it's purple. It's a synthesis. Okay? It's both. It's the most obvious thing. Okay, now let me do the second part fast. I'm skipping a very important, I'm skipping one stage where even though it's supposed to be balanced, there are certain biases. I call them biases. There are certain rules. For example, Avram comes before Yitzchak. That means in the process of getting to this balance, first you have to start with love and then you can have discipline. You can't discipline and then have love. So you have to, in life you always have to go through even though you want your kid to get both messages, the order is Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Not Yitzchak, Avram, Yaakov.
So chinuch is like the opposite.
The what?
Chinuch, they try to do the opposite. They come in on top. And once you crack it,
I think, no, a kid gets nursed by his mother for a few years
I'm talking
before.
like an institution.
What?
Institutional chinuch.
Institution.
Okay, that's not.
Well, institutional chinuch might be just part two.
That's really-
You don't go until you've been home playing games and told what a genius you are and everything you ever did was hung on the fridge. And school is where you start so slowly, kindergarten, pre-1, we get you, but it's the transition into Yitzchak. That's what the system is.
Gotcha.
It's part two, right? So that's one bias. There's other principles. Like if you make a mistake to one side, if you're not going to be balanced, let's say you're going to be off a little bit, always try and be off to the chesed side rather than the din side. You always live to fight another day. Once you throw the guy out of yeshiva, if it's the right thing, it's the right thing. But if you're not sure, then don't ever make a mistake always make a mistake to the. I'll show you. I could show you all the makaras for these things. It's cool to do it in the psukim, but also the face, the spokesperson, the face of the community should always be. Aaron is the one who does the talking. Moshe stands behind him with the stick, but the soft side is the spokesperson needs to be the shalom, not the emes. These are different principles. Even though the answer is always 50-50, the question is the division of labor. There are preferences for one side over the other. Okay, we can work it out in no time. But let's go to part two. Part two is a way that it's like very deep. It's like when I did this on colleges. This is where you really want to get into their kishkas and show them how cool Yiddishkeit is. But is like this. Is I want to show how many levels deeper Yiddishkeit thinks about these things than the secular world. Like a typical college kid thinks he's an expert at politics. So I'll challenge him to give me his deep understanding of what the political situation, like what is the underlying argument? What is a liberal arguing against a conservative? What is the position of the left? Don't just tell me you're a Democrat. Why? Like, what's the Havana? Give me a deeper. So we'll call level 1 Republican and Democrat, or right and left. But what's level 2? Scratch the surface. What is in one principle? What is the distinction between the right and the left? So they have trouble with that, and I basically help them get to understandings. And this is what they usually accept: is that the liberal believes in a focus on. A liberal believes in the focus on the community, on the.
The liberals believe that everyone's inherently good, and
That what?
everyone's inherently good, and you need to throw things at them and give them the right opportunity, and eventually they'll turn around. Where
The Republicans don't believe.
everyone's no, the people are good, people are bad, and we have to deal with what it is.
Yeah, you think that's who would accept that definition?
So that's books, Orwell, and there's a lot of books on that concept.
I don't know. I think the conservatives would argue literally the opposite. That the conservatives would say we believe people are inherently good and you should leave them alone, and don't legislate, let them do their own thing. And the liberals believe people are inherently bad, dysfunctional, therefore we have to take care of them and create a government that sounds literally the opposite. You hear that argument?
I hear what you're saying. Yeah, but I'm saying.
Okay, so these are spins. There's a nice spin that the left would say to make their case sound better, and you can turn it around on them the other way.
It's not better or worse. I'm saying.
No, it's a very appealing thing to say that people are inherently good, and you guys believe that people are bad, and they'll turn it around. No, we're the ones who believe that people are good, and you're the ones who believe they're bad. You have to control people. You have to legislate everything. Let people make their own decisions. I think that position is much easier to say that the Republicans are the one who say you're inherently good. They want the government to bail out. People know what's best for them. People are in touch. And the liberals think that the government needs to control everything because people will screw up. So I think very likely a conservative would win the argument which one can claim that distinction. At least if I was debating it, I could win that argument on the guy trying to... But I think what's neater way to describe it is that the liberals are concerned with the community, and the conservatives and the right is concerned with the individual rights, my autonomy, and the liberals say you have to worry about the community and you have to give taxes to the government so that we can take care of everybody, and the conservatives say leave it to the people, let them do what they want with their money. It's sort of self versus community. As I said, usually in colleges they like that because it makes the left sound much more loving, and all the words that they value, they're willing to accept that that's the deeper understanding of conservative liberal. You hear how that's an acceptable.
Where does my body, my choice fit in?
What?
Where does my body, my choice fit in? That's individual.
It's good. That's a good argument. My body, my choice. It sounds like so I'm sure any good Republican debater would say, "Ooh, all of a sudden you're a Republican? What happened to my body, my choice with everything else? All of your laws and your endless government taking my money."
Yeah, the Republicans say that about vaccines, and the Democrats say
Okay,
that
so
about
that's
abortions, but they scream it all day long, the Democrats. So there is.
But the point is, big government is saying our choice, and right, and it's a good kash on them. My body, my choice, because they're basically saying that the government knows what's best, and for people on the right, they're saying again. They don't really say. The people on the right are not saying that we have a right to decide for you. Making it about choice is a very nice marketing shtick. But what's the right wing position on abortion?
You can't decide for someone else, and it's a person.
No, that's not that. That's the way the left would like to say what's the right wing position.
The baby's also a person.
That is right.
Murder. It's murder. Right? It's murder. Right?
That is the argument. The
What?
right says it's a person.
But they're not saying. They're saying it's not about choice. That dichotomy of my body, my choice is only a left-wing position. And you're right. It's a kasha. Again, doesn't fit with the rest of the left-wing agenda. That government and makes decisions for us. Right, but ultimately, that's what they are saying is that governments do make decisions because we can decide that since people have the right to abortion, you have to pay higher rates in insurance because we're going to fund people's abortions. So they are ultimately taking that little argument for self and making it into a left-wing position where they're because my body, my choice, therefore your money, my choice. Right? It's hypocritical, you know. That'll be a very cool debate argument. If someone says my body, my choice, I'd say fine, but my money, my choice. You can't make me pay for your insurance to have your body, your choice. That would be a very cool argument, right? Only liberals should have to have higher prices for insurance because they should be subsidizing all of the abortions while the right wing shouldn't have to.
And we're gonna have to pay for all the people that were hurt.
Because ultimately, it's not, you don't even have to say my.
We're not just stopping an abortion that we're paying for. We're paying for.
I understand.
surgeries,
So, but
slaughter.
all that really, you don't have to say my money, my choice. You could literally say they say my body, my choice, and you could say is my money came from my hard work. So my body, my choice. I decide where my money goes. It's my money, it's my body.
But they also believe it's not your money.
What?
They also believe it's not your money.
But I'm saying that's hypocritical. Your money's not your body. Then why is money different than my body? My money is the result of my body. I worked, and my money is the payment for that. Is there any difference in the fetus is the result of your work, right? Whatever you did, right? Ultimately, you probably can make a very good argument that the work that went into my money was much more me than the work of whatever created a fetus, right? Which one should be more connected to me, right? What? Yeah. Okay. We're never gonna get to.
One was intentional, one wasn't.
It's not gonna happen. The Korach.
That's gonna be with Korach here.
Hi.
We'll have to figure it out.
Leftist division.
Parshas a year away again.
Yes, let's do this one.
We do the part what?
Okay, I'm just gonna say the words. Okay, in 3 minutes. Here's the thing.
3 minutes.
3 minutes. No, I'm gonna get Korach. I have to bridge. I have to bridge the Korach. So I call level number 1 right wing and left wing. Level number 2 of depth. I say, what is the real understanding of the machlekas? Is it the community versus the individual? Okay. Now let's go. Why would level 3 of depth? Why would one person say I should focus on the community and one folks say I focus on the self? Two human beings, the same. Why would one believe one? So what's the deeper argument? The deeper argument already is a very deep philosophical question of what is more important, unity or individuality? God created, from a spiritual perspective, God created a whole universe, everybody. So unity is important. I have responsibility to all those people. But he also created me, so I have a responsibility to myself. Individuality is saying that God made me. I can't leave any of myself on the table. I have to maximize, be all that I could be. On the other hand, there's other people, and I have to take them into account. So one position, the deeper argument between focusing on others versus focusing on yourself is what's a deeper value, unity or individuality? That's already a philosophical question, and you can debate it. It's a fascinating debate. What's more important?
Could you get to unity without individuality?
Yeah, unity is the sacrifice of individuality. It's the giving up yourself for the sake of the thing. They're literally opposites, right? It's a trade-off. It's like it's like one or the other. I guess there's different definitions that you could use where they won't be
What's an
opposites.
example? What do you
I
mean?
think we're starting to do a time.
What?
3 minutes, right?
Yeah, like that. So let's go next level. The next level, unity, individuality. So now go one step deeper. Why would one person believe in unity, one believe in individuality? What's the deeper argument that triggers that argument? So the deeper argument behind that is justice versus kindness. Which is more godly? Is mishpat or chesed? Which one is a deeper trait of God? Mishpat says everything's just. and kindness is so. If you believe that kindness is holier than justice, then you're going to believe in unity over individuality. If you're going to believe in justice over kindness, then justice is more important than kindness, then for something to be just, you have to earn it, and therefore individuality is going to be more important than unity. Does that make sense? What's the deeper argument behind justice and kindness? Why would one person believe in justice, one believe in kindness? What's deeper than that? He says, we're doing. If you do it in college, you do it slow, and you show them that they call it left and right. They don't even understand this. Then maybe they think about community versus individual. But we didn't even get started yet. In Judaism, we agonize over deeper and deeper. What's deeper than justice and kindness is what's holier, emes or shalom. Emes and shalom are also opposites. You understand why they're opposites? If I say you owe me $100, and you say you don't owe me $100, and he says, listen, he does the whole share every week. He buys all the food and everything. But you're going to fight with him over $100? Just give him 50 and call it even. And you'll both be Michael, the other guy, another 50, whoever it is. It's a nice svara, right? But what's the problem with that Eitzah, 50? It's zikr, not emes. The question is 100 or 0. Right? So that's called shalom. But shalom's not emes. What's holier, emes or shalom? That's a crazy deep debate. Because emes is reality.
Shalom. Let a lie lamana shalom. So obviously shalom's more important.
Well, it depends. It's different psukim. Sometimes the pasuk says divrei shalom ve'emes, and sometimes it says emes v'shalom yehavu. And could be it's a different devarim hazen or haba. Could be it's the Shammai and Hillel machlekes of emes and shalom. But I'm saying these are trippy things. But you understand how this is really the underlying debate. Is that if you believe that shalom is greater than emes, then you're going to believe in then you can believe in kindness, and if you believe in kindness, you're going to believe in unity. If you believe in unity, you're going to focus on the community, and then you're going to be a left winger. If you believe in emes is more than shalom, then you're going to believe in justice, and if you believe in justice, you're going to believe in individuality. If you believe in individuality, you're going to believe in the individual, in me, and then you're going to become a right winger. But at this point, every level, it gets more and more clear. It gets less and less choosing sides. Like, you can't call someone a Nazi if he thinks that emes is more important than shalom, right? And then where does emes and shalom come from? Why does one person believe in emes, one believe in shalom? Because the world was created with intellect and emotion. And the shleimus of intellect is emes, and the shleimus of emotion is shalom. So now the question is which one's hope, which one's deeper. And now it's already starting to sound a little more conservative. More people want to be intellectual than emotional. So all of a sudden people want to change sides now. The guys who are totally invested in the left, And
you should do this class and have everyone has to go and stay on one side of the room and just keep them walking.
Keep them walking back and forth, right? And then it goes deeper. Why did God create the world with intellect and emotion? So it comes down to Hashem and Elohim, and it comes down to unity and harmony. Whatever things we discussed in earlier shiur. But ultimately that's what I think comes down to, unity and harmony.
Which side's which?
Two different versions of Echad. Let's go right. Let's try and save a few minutes for Parshas Korach. Okay? But you understand part 2? Part 2 is on college, it's mind-blowing because you're showing the intellectual inadequacy of academia compared to they didn't even get started. And they're fighting. You don't even know what the argument is. Have you ever thought 1 minute of emes or shalom and chesed and mishpat and intellect versus emotion? These are real things, and that's what plays out in politics. And ultimately, what's the answer? We said the answer is both. So we have Hashem Elokeinu, right? Unity and harmony. They're both true. So that, but it's cool. Whatever. Okay, you got it. So now none of this is really negaya. Because what's going on in the world today has nothing to do with this. This is not what Republicans and Democrats, right and leftists, liberal and conservatives fighting about. They're not fighting about chesed and din and emes and mishpat and emes and shalom and emotion and intellect. That has nothing to do with what's going on. Although you listen to all the pundits trying to define the difference in positions, conservative ideology, and this and that, they're mamish so in touch with what's really going on in the world. Let's do it quickly. Korach is the place where the Torah describes politics. Korach comes and he says, Moshe is appointing Kohanim and Leviim. Okay? Korach says, Kol Eida Kulam Kedaisha. Everyone's holy. Lama tisnasu al kal Hashem. Why are you making higher caste system, higher and lower? Everyone's holy. That's Korach's argument. Korach's argument is an amazing argument. Many people gather around Korach. It's an extremely appealing argument. Why? What's Korach's argument essentially?
Equality.
What?
Equality.
Probably. Korach essentially is your utopian communist. That's what it sounds like. And it's a very appealing, everyone goes through that stage. You can go through a stage where you imagine the world. Imagine we have like a neighborhood, everyone's the same house, no jealousy, no competition, no snobbing. Everyone's like, wow, it's a utopian view of the world. It's extremely appealing. So, Rabbi, I thought of the third part. I'll repeat it for you what I said because I only said one sentence. Korach says, "Kol ha'edakum kedoshim lama tisnasu al kal Hashem." Moshe is appointing Kahanim and Leviim, and Korach is coming and saying that why are you ruining this beautiful system we have and creating higher levels, lower levels, hierarchies? You're ruining a beautiful thing. Let everyone be equal. So Korach's argument is one of the most appealing arguments in the world. Everybody goes through a stage in life where you're a utopian communist, where you want everyone to be equal. And that makes total sense why Korach has such a appeal amongst the people. Korach basically is yelling out equality, and everyone turns to mush when you say equality. It also makes sense why after Moshe has Korach killed, he challenges him to the showdown, and the ground opens up and swallows Korach. Everyone's angry at Moshe. Like, why you do this? This is maybe Moshe's greatest nace ever. I call it his Babe Ruth moment. You know, like Babe Ruth hit 14 home runs. But it was either 714 or 15. But the one he's known for is the one that he pointed into the stands and then he hit it right there. That shows a certain level of power. That this is Moshe's. Moshe says that if the ground doesn't open up and swallow Korach whole, then I'm wrong. Like, it has to be a crazy nace that no one ever saw before in the world, and that's what happened. The ground opens up, swallows Korach. So you would think everybody would go, whoa, you know. That's not what happens. They're all angry at Moshe. What do they say? Lama hamitin as why you cause the nation of the people of Hashem to die? It makes a lot of sense if you think of Korach as utopian communist. Because why? How do we talk about communism today? What do we say? We're not communism. What do we say? What do you say about communism? It doesn't work. It's la la land. It's not practical. There's no ambition. You know, like it's naive. So that's what they're saying. They're saying is like, why are you killing Korach? Because he's a dreamer? Because he lives in la la land? Because he's not practical? So buy him a flower shop. Let him be a preschool teacher. That's grounds for murder because someone wants a world of equality. Sit him down and explain to him that it's idealistic, but it's not real. It doesn't really work. But that's not evil. They don't understand why you killed Korach. So he's foolish. So he's living in La La Land. That shouldn't be a cardinal offense, capital offense.
What about Ben Sire murder?
We're trying to squeeze this all in. We'll do this
Mitzvah
after.
Moira
Next week.
it's not shaykh.
I have the same thing. Everyone's very argumentative today.
Okay.
Okay.
No time. We're
There's no more questions till
we don't have no time. We're mamish like okay.
The heat is why they were so angry, which is why they're so violent.
Yes, it is. It's the heat.
Okay, let's do Ben Sire Moira another time.
It's a Sinai.
Anyways, okay, Chevra. Let's get back on track. Okay, we were moving.
Why are they killing?
So it makes sense why everyone likes Korach. It makes sense why they're upset at Moshe. So it's a very appealing thing, like all these modern thinkers, you know, all these like from progressive, like it's very cool to say Korach's a communist. It's like sort of low-hanging fruit. Kol ha'edah kulum kedoshim, everyone's holy. Totally, it's very appealing. It's just not right. Why not? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with thinking of Korach as a communist? So it makes sense why they like him. It makes sense why they're upset. What doesn't make sense? Did Moshe didn't get the memo? What's wrong with Moshe? Why did Moshe go to war? Why did Moshe kill him? Moshe doesn't love naive communists and just say, oh, you're so zeus, but like let the grown-ups are in the room. Like that's what Moshe should have said. He said, Korach, you're adorable, but whatever, you know. We'll hire you a tutor, okay? Okay, well you'll stay, whatever. You'll get like a rebbe like every night to come to your house. We'll get you a really cool bacher in front of you, okay? Right? So that doesn't work because Moshe is not this Nazi. Moshe defends Klal Yisrael every time. Mecheina misifrecha. This is the only time Moshe goes to war against somebody. It can't be that he was this sweetheart dreamer. So this is the most important diak, I think, in the whole Torah. What does Korach say? See, this is the, okay, let's say that. I'm just going to say the punchline. The punchline is,
You can't skip the most important.
no, it's
in the Torah.
you're going to say it. I'm going to say the most. I'm going to skip to the, no, I'm not going to lead you up. I'm going to tell it to you.
Okay.
Korach says equality. Equality is like this magic word. The entire world turns to mush when you say the word equality. Oh, equality, wow, you get like starry-eyed, wow, so beautiful. Okay, that's what equality does to people. The problem is the Torah says that that's crazy because there's two different versions of equality. It could be that equality is the most beautiful word in the world, or it could be it's the ugliest word in the world. And you have to be mavar which one it is, because there's two types of equality. If you have people here and people here. So what's one version of equality? Is you pick up all the disadvantage, we call it chesed. You help everybody. You give everybody a house and a car and a job and whatever it is, a shidduch, you do everything. And there's another way to create equality. What's that? You knock down everyone on top that they shouldn't have it and everyone should be broken and no one should have it, no one should smile. They're both equality. Where they pick, this is called Chesed, Avraham Avinu, and this is Rishus. So when you hear what Moshe chap that nobody else chaps, is that when someone says the word equality, while everybody else in the room is swooning, the manig, the grown-up, has to listen to the next sentence. What does he say now? Which equality? Can I tell which one he means? Because everyone else got lost, and everyone else was like hypnotized by the equality speech. That's the whole world gets hypnotized by the word equality. Every college student in America is hypnotized by the professor saying equality. Who wants to be against it? No one can be against equality. But let's say Korach was really a liberal, right? See, let me just say the punchline of everything I said till here was, what is the Torah's view on liberalism? How would you say it, based on everything we said? Is liberalism good or bad?
Bad.
What? What is liberalism? The whole share. What? According to my share, is liberalism good or bad? What is it?
Shown. They're both good.
Giving to people is good, taking away is bad.
Ooh, I didn't say any of that yet.
Chesed, no?
Unity.
Is liberalism good or bad, according to the share?
Half the answer.
It's half. It's 50%. Liberalism's amazing. It's just missing the other half, right? Do you understand the answer? Is conservatism good? 50%. If you're a liberal, your mom is 50% of Yiddishkeit. That's amazing. Now you just have to learn the other half. If you're conservative, the answer is that anyone in their position you're amazing. You chap 50% of the Torah. You are Avram Avinu. Let me now introduce you to Yitzchak. You're Yitzchak. Let me introduce you to Avram. That's the answer. You understand that? What I'm saying now is not everyone who's a liberal is really Avram. There's something called the counterfeit liberal, a masquerading liberal. He uses the same words that Avram uses, equality, but he doesn't mean chesed. Chesed is to pick you up. There's another version where you're not. If Moshe is appointing Kohanim and Leviim, so if Korach was a real liberal, if Avram showed up, and Moshe is saying, you're a Kohen, you're a Levi, Kohen, Levi, right? What would Avram have said?
Okay.
Okay. Let's say it in a nicer, like in a more practical way. You're giving guidance to leading the Jewish people. What would you say? Giving everyone positions.
Everyone has their place.
Give everybody a title. Give everyone a stellar. Everybody. What you say? You just make everyone come. But you say make the same point. A real liberal would have said what? Give everybody a stellar. Pick everybody up. Right? What does Korach say? Listen to Korach. Kol ha'eda kulam kedoshim lama tisnasu al kal Hashem. What is he saying? Why have you raised yourself? What's bothering Korach? What's bothering Korach?
He wants to knock Misha down.
What?
He wants to knock down Misha.
What's bothering Korach is that you're up here, not that they're down here. A liberal would have said, Kala Eda Kulum Kedoshim, give everyone a title. And Korach says, Kala Eda Kulum Kedoshim, Lama Tisnasel Kashem, the most important diak in the Torah. What is Korach saying? That only Moshe hears? Everyone heard the first sentence, Kala Eda Kulum Kedoshim. Who doesn't turn to mush from Kala Eda Kulum Kedoshim? Is there a more beautiful phrase in the world? You have to listen to the next sentence. What everyone is holy. And therefore what? You come back down or pick everyone up? Avraham Avinu would have said pick everyone up. Korach says the worst person in the world and the best person in the world is literally defined by the follow-up words to everyone's holy. So what is Korach? Korach is not a utopian communist. Everyone turned to mush because they didn't know this. And this is the role of a manig. You want to know what the role of the manig is to listen to all the do-gooders in the world, all the people, and listen, what are they coming? This person's talking about molested kids. This person's talking about agunas. What are they coming to do? Are they worried about the kid? Or they want to destroy the yeshiva? Are they worried about the aguna? Or they want to knock all the rabbanim who don't care? Are they here to pick up the... And you have to listen to what they're saying. I tell the kids, you professors, equality. If they're talking about the starving people in Darfur, they may be a liberal. If they're talking about the evil corporations, then they're Korach. Avram and Korach say the same first words. What's going on in the world today is not liberal conservatives. It's not emes u'shalom u'chesed and mishpat. It is the need to knock down everybody on top. That is what drives the world. How do you tell this? I call this in college, I said, this is your decoder ring. Every person on college is saying everyone's equal, everyone's equality. Everyone's talking about unity, brotherhood, equality. Now you have to be able to figure out which one they mean. You know both terms now. So how do you figure it out? So you hear Clar? You have a Clar? So I'm saying that first of all, let all this liberal talk of liberalism, the Torah's view of it, where you say to a liberal, you're 50% of Yiddishkeit, that's only if he's doing this. This guy, who's picking everyone up, is 50% of Yiddishkeit. This guy is zero. He's just evil. He's just a vindictive, jealous, lazy, arrogant person. Well, I didn't get into all those words and show it. That's the question: is where does this come from? Why do some people do this and some people do that? What's the answer to that? Those are important questions. That's also in the parsha. But Korach, this is what Moshe showed on Korach is. Korach portrays himself to the whole world as he is. He's into equality and unity, and the answer is that no, you don't want anyone to smile, and that's what you do. You make a list of every college professor's positions. See, if the guy believes and likes animals, doesn't like fur coats, he's a vegan because he loves animals. That's love for animals. That's Avram. That's compassion, right? If he cares about the environment and he doesn't want fracking, he cares about the environment. He's a tree hugger. He loves nature. It's possible. If somebody, there's a lot of positions. But if you conveniently, if I could predict, if I can make a list of all the positions and every single position, I'll give you an example. If I know one position of a college professor, the odds are I can predict 49 other positions. Here's a typical college professor. They don't believe in absolute truth. They don't like religion. They don't like nationalism. They don't believe in traditional marriage. They don't like fur coats. They don't like SUVs. They don't like guns, nationalism, flags. They don't like the Boy Scouts. They don't like Jews. They don't like America. They don't like Israel. They don't like Christianity. They don't like national anthems. They don't like pride. They don't like
Rich people.
Armies, rich people.
You just want to just push down everyone that
Is there any common denominator? What is the
You want
common?
to push down everyone that has something.
Oh, Good. But you understand how that has to be? What is the common denominator of an SUV, a fur coat, married people, people with nuclear families, Jews, Christians, America, guns, flags, national anthems, Boy Scouts? It's Korach. It is a war against every single thing that makes a person feel proud and deserving. If there's no truth, then I'm never wrong. If there's no morality, then I'm never bad. If marriage is not a thing, I'm not single. If money is evil, I'm not poor. You have no right to walk around proud of yourself. You gun, you feel powerful. Who do you think you are? You think you can decide what's worth fighting for? And uniforms? How can you hate a Boy Scout? The most sweetest kids in the world. No, they don't. Why does this kid look around with a uniform like he's so important? And merit badges. Everybody has to live with the same feeling of existential emptiness that I feel. It is a war against deservingness and pride. It has nothing to do with politics. What's going on in the world today, the left and the right, the woke world, and it's crazy, all these pundits explain the machlokas between the right and the left. It has nothing to do with political arguments. It is, and that's what, but I don't blame them. Everyone fell for Korach too. But we had Moshe, and we have to be the Moshe for the world and showing them that they're not driven by unity. They just need to wipe the smile off it. Now, there are professors in college, usually 1 out of every 100, who are there to teach people and to give kids a crack at being successful in life. But the vast majority of them are there just to wipe the smile off successful people's faces.
So when they start pandering to black people and telling them how
they couldn't care less about black people.
So
they
who's
hate white people. They don't love women. They hate men. They don't love gays. They hate nuclear families. They don't love Palestinians. They hate Jews. They don't love Europe. They hate America. They don't love Islam. They hate Christianity. It has nothing to do with the thing they're defending. They couldn't care less. The blacks are pawns for them to wipe the smile off that smug white man. And it's out of the bag. That's all they talk about. They don't talk about blacks anymore. They talk about whiteness. They're already talking about it. They don't talk about Palestinians anymore. They talk about Zionists. It's Korach. They're not even faking it anymore. They don't know. They don't even chop what they're doing. It's a total war against the people on top. It's to wipe the smile off everybody's face. It's to destroy the world. This is the most evil thing there is. Now, where does it come from? It comes from a combination of two midas that doesn't have to be terrible. There's different. If you have an ego and a work ethic, it's an amazing thing. You need to be the guy, but you're willing to work hard. So you make a lot of money, you become the guy. If you have no ego and no work ethic, it also works. Because you don't need to be anybody, and you don't want to work. So you work in Walmart, and you get your whatever it is, and you're fine. All the problems start when you have an ego and no work ethic. You need to be the guy, but you're scared to work, you're lazy, you don't want to work. So what do you have to do now? So now you have to spend the rest of your life knocking down everybody who's successful. That's what it comes on. That's what all college professors are. All college professors are people who were afraid to compete in the real world. They were very smart. They developed egos in high school. They were for the smartest kids in the class. But they didn't have the bravery or the work ethic to go out and become something. Well, one friend became a lawyer. The 3 smartest guys in the class, one became a lawyer, one became a doctor. And he was afraid to compete with the doctor. Maybe the lawyer will sue him. So he became a college professor. He spent the rest of his life trying to convince the lawyer and the doctor's kids that their parents are evil because of his inadequacies. And this is what the left is. The left comes from fear of laziness and insecurity and lack of courage. The inability to, and that's why you'll find in academia, we're leftists. They're all people who are afraid to compete in the real world. And when you do that, you need to be the guy. You need to knock down everybody on top. Anybody who's willing to work hard wants to pick. Everybody wants equality. But it's much harder to pick the whole world up than knock everybody down. That's the appeal. So the people who are willing to work hard will do chesed. And the people who are lazy and don't have any self-respect will have to knock everybody else down. They love to see that you're lost and disillusioned and ashamed. They need to, and that's the decoder ring. They need to make the whole world feel ashamed like they feel. You need to feel the same shame that I live with. And I have to strip away from you any ounce of pride and deservingness. You have no accomplishments. Even your kids kind of merit badges. That's the secret of politics today. Now, to be fair, there is a counterfeit conservative also. We're going to meet them pretty soon. A counterfeit conservative is whatever. It's a racist, and he's not really about ideas and truth and justice or MS. He just doesn't want to be confronted by his ideas and anyone different than him. We're going to suffer from both sides as time goes forward.
Okay, amazing.
Wow.